Today I'm going to share with you 10 important lessons I have learned about growing succulents so that you can apply them to your own succulent growing and find more success. First thing that we're going to talk about is not all succulents are created equal. Every type of succulent has slightly different care needs, whether it's water or the amount of light that they need or the temperatures that they can tolerate. So knowing the name of your succulent or knowing the genus or the general idea of what type of succulent you own will help you better care for it. So for example, I know that this one is a crassula. It's a hybrid of a crassula ovata. I don't know the exact species, but I know enough to know the amount of light it needs, that it likes bright indirect sunlight, that it can handle water fairly frequently, and it does not like freezing temperatures. So know the name of your succulent or something very close to it so that you know its exact needs and how to best care for it. Number 2, make sure that you're using a really well draining soil. This does not look like a typical potting soil. It's very gritty and has lots of larger particles. Having a well-draining soil like this will help keep your succulents alive because succulents don't like to sit in super wet soil for very long. A gritty soil like this allows water to flow out easily, and it retains just enough water for the succulent to get what it needs without rotting the roots. Which brings me to number 3. You want to use a pot that has a large drainage hole. Now, these will vary in size. I love these large holes in the Susan Ock pots, and she even creates little channels for water to flow out of the pot. It's really important that water be able to flow all the way through the succulent soil that's very gritty and then flow out. That air flow through the bottom of the drainage hole will help the soil dry out more quickly. It prevents water from standing in the bottom of the pot and causing rot for your succulents. I'm bringing in a cactus to show you number 4, which is that watering quantity is less important than watering frequency. So when you water your succulents, you want to make sure that the soil gets soaked completely. You could technically run water over your succulent for 5 minutes and just let that water flow through and really soak through all of the soil. The quantity of the water is not important as long as the soil is completely soaked, but the frequency is actually a bigger deal. You want to make sure that you're only watering your succulents when the soil is completely dry and not before then, because watering before then is generally too frequent and will cause your succulent roots to rot. Number 5 is that you should record when you water your succulents. So I love using the Succulent Tracker app for this. It makes it so easy to remember when I've watered last. If I water this succulent today, I just tap the little button in the Succulent Tracker app, and now I have a perfect record of when I've watered my succulents. Now, as I mentioned in the previous tip, watering frequency is super important with succulents. So if you're watering your succulent too frequently, it's going to rot. If you're not watering it frequently enough, then it's going to start to dry up. So find a way to record when you water your succulents. This is super important even if you have a couple succulents or if you have a couple hundred. It's going to be more difficult if you have a couple hundred, which is why I love the Succulent Tracker app. I have over 300 succulents and I can't remember when I've watered all of them because they are all watered at a different frequency because, like I mentioned in number 1, not all succulents are created equal. Number 6 is to have fun with your succulents, and one of the most fun ways to do this is by propagating succulents, whether it's from cuttings or growing succulent babies from leaves. There's so much fun to be had with propagation, and it's incredible to see what these plants can do and how willing they are to survive in the craziest climates and circumstances. I have been shocked at the number of times I'm about to throw out a leaf, I decide to keep it, and it produces new succulent babies. So make sure you're always having fun and definitely give propagating succulents a try. Number 7. Grow lights are so helpful for growing succulents indoors, and they can help maintain these beautiful colors that you see here in this Graptocedum and Sedum. These would not be orange and red if I was growing them inside just by a bright window. Most succulents that are colorful like this need a lot of light in order to maintain that color, and using grow lights is a great way to do this. Now, grow lights don't have to be complicated or expensive. You can start with just a basic desk lamp and run it over your succulents for about 12 hours a day, and you'll see a noticeable difference in the color of your succulents. Number 8 is that buying succulents is generally more fun than caring for succulents. Now, that's not always the case, but make sure that when you are buying succulents, you're not buying too many, and make sure you're looking for healthy succulents, because sometimes if you get a succulent at a nursery and you bring it home and it dies within a couple days, usually it's not your fault. Usually it just wasn't cared for very well at the nursery. So make sure that you're looking for really healthy specimens or buying from online sources that are very reputable and you know will deliver high quality succulents so that they keep thriving. In conjunction with number 8, number 9 is make sure you don't get too many succulents all at once, and that you don't have too many succulents that you can't care for them all. Sometimes more is not better. I have found that as my succulent collection has grown, it's harder and harder to keep all of the succulents looking healthy because my attention is so spread out over so many different succulents. So it's fun to have lots of succulents, but try and find that sweet spot where you have enough, that you have plenty to care for and a variety of things to look at, but not so many that you can't care for them and they start to die. Remember, it's supposed to be fun, not stressful. And so usually there's a sweet spot where you'll have the perfect number of succulents for you so that you can care for them and enjoy them all without it being stressful. Number 10 is that knowing how to care for succulents and actually caring for them the right way are two totally different things. You might even be doing all the right things with your succulent and find that it still dies. These are living things. And so sometimes we don't know why they died, even if it seems like we're giving it the perfect care. But try to learn from each succulent that you grow and each one that dies and try to just keep improving. You're going to lose some succulents and it's okay. They are replaceable. So make sure that you are learning what you can about succulents so that you can grow them and keep them alive. But also know that if some of your succulents die, you're in good company and you can always try again. Your bonus tip, number 11, is that growing succulents is so much more fun when you can share your experiences with other people and when you get help and learn from other people's experiences. That is one of the reasons why I love making YouTube videos about what's working and what's not working in my succulent garden, because I have benefited so much from learning from other succulent lovers as to what's working for them. I'm always surprised at the little tips that I can pick up from friends who are also growing succulents and apply those things to my own garden. That's one of the reasons why we put together the Succulent Lovers Club, which is an online community of succulent growers where you can get help with your succulents, you can get help identifying your succulents so that you know the name of them and can better care for them, and just chat with other succulent lovers all around the world, learn from them, share in your joys and in your failures, and just have a community of people who totally understand why you're so obsessed with buying these adorable plants. I hope these succulent tips have been helpful for you. I have had so much fun growing succulents for the past 10 years, and I'm excited to see what I learn in the next 10 years of growing succulents. And you can be sure that I will be sharing tips and tricks with you all along my journey. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.